What's happening, APLers? Here with a week 3 review. It's a little bit late this week. I'd like to get it out on Monday night, but just haven't had time to do it this week. So super late, and kind of run through things pretty quick because we've probably all moved on from week 3 and are kind of thinking about week 4. So first matchup here is me and Sade. There's Keenan Allen, the man that came through for me and got me the victory this week. So the Vikings Chargers game here lived up to the hype, with everybody going pretty much crazy that was in the game. So they got the 516 from Herbert, absolutely huge monster number, but offset by Keenan Allen's 303 points. So it's like 70 of that came from that touchdown pass to Mike Williams, who today also had. But when Herbert gets 516 and Keenan has like 230 of that 516, that definitely makes a big difference in how Madison was also good and effective this week, 130 points there. So today gets some big games from Herbert and Madison and Mike Williams, all in that Vikings Chargers game. Gets a few field goals from Buck Kerr to get over 104, puts up 1279, really good score. Just had Keenan Allen, Tyreek went nuts. Ken Walker was really good. Seattle offense is looking like it might be doing something. So 1353 is my score for the week. I sneak out with another win despite 8 points from my tight end. I think I have like 13 points in the last 2 weeks from tight end, and it's kind of a problem going forward. So prediction here was that I would win by 17, come out with a 74-point win. Was fully expecting the Rams guys between Kyron and Puka to take me down there on Monday night, but the Bengals actually played defense and held on. So moved to 3-0 today, a strong 2-1. Next matchup of the week here was the juggernaut Ryan's squad here. There's the conga line from the Dolphins and their 70-20 dismantling of the Broncos. I think they're celebrating one of Mostert's 4 touchdowns, and if not, I'll just pretend they were. So Corey puts up a very impressive 1,232 points here in a losing effort, led by Mahomes, who scored 384, and he only played like 3 quarters, maybe a little less than 3 quarters. They pulled him when they were up by a ton. Devontae may have been insulted by the 75-point prediction there. Goes for 225. Just a monster game there against the Steelers too. It was impressive. And Evan Ingram continues his strong play with a big 141 there. It was a nice showing there. Corey's running backs were all right too. I mean, Jacobs had 83, hoping for a little bit more from him there. Maybe that's coming. But Jerome Ford's 93 points against the Titans. Very impressive there too. They're tough run D, and he scored a couple times, and got to be feeling strong there for Corey with the second running back. However, the story here is Ryan's team. Really, the only thing that plagued Ryan, 2 things. Derrick Henry was terrible. Maybe he's broken. Who knows? Brown's defense is really good, so that's probably more of the story. So big down outing from Derrick Henry. And Devondre Campbell got hurt and only scored 5 points. Other than that, everybody just crushed for Ryan. So started out on Thursday with Debo with the 157. Laporta caught a bomb for a touchdown. He had a ton of points, and I think it was a second quarter, so he comes up with a 196 there. Mostert goes nuts, 4 touchdowns against the Broncos for 229. That Mostert trade there is really, really paying off for Ryan. Cousins does his thing against the Chargers like everybody thought he would. Goes for 459, so almost everybody's exceeding expectations here for Ryan, and Matt Gay gets the 249 at the kicker spot on there. Just a field goal fest down there with the Ravens, and we come out on top. So Ryan goes for 16-12 this week. Just a monster week. Greg and I cashed in on the APL bets on that one. We each had $100 on the over for a team point total, or a point total to go over 1,600 in an individual week. So we turn our $100 into $1,100 there. So thank you, Ryan. So Ryan wins by 380. Was predicted to win by 20, but Ryan moves to 3-0. I think he's think he's surprised by that, but probably pleasantly surprised. Corey moves to a 1-2. It's a pretty strong 1-2 though. See how he rebounds this week. Next matchup. I told myself I wasn't going to include Taylor Swift in this, and then it just happened. So it's such a big news story, and I can't. It really annoys me. But anyway, she's at the game, in case you guys didn't hear. So Solomon takes on Tank here. Solomon has a little bit of a down week again. Trevor Lawrence does some stuff, but not a lot to Calvin Ridley. So 328 from Lawrence is okay. Solomon's probably hoping for more. Bijan, not great. We talked about Breida in the previous show. Ridley, not great. Garrett Wilson really wants a different quarterback. Daniel Carlson doesn't kick many field goals. And standout games from Cooper and Hawkinson. Hawkinson again, of course, in that Vikings-Chargers game. So Solomon puts up a 971. Tank pretty easily tops it with a comparable game to Lawrence there from Geno. ETN and Diggs, a big. Kelsey does Kelsey stuff, and a big 199 from the kicker there. So Tank comes through with 1161 to a 971 victory there. So thought Tank would win by around 48 to 50 points. Ends up winning by 190. So kicker is probably the difference there for Tank. Comes out a little more on top, and Solomon just didn't get as much as you would think out of the running back spot and his top receiver spot. So Tank moves to 3-0. Solomon, let's say a surprising 1-2 start there. Next matchup, we have Jake and Greg. Jake did most of his damage there on Thursday night, as you can see the CMC picture there, as he's leaving a few Giants behind him. So interesting little roster here from Greg. Greg gets 348 from Jalen Hurts. I think that's his high for the season. Dallas Goedert gets 87. That's his high for the season. He's still probably hoping for 100 more points from each of those guys as he is drafting them. Jefferson, again, was awesome. 176. I think he's been over 150 every week so far. Just an excellent second pick there. Greg had Jason Myers last week, who had trashed here on his, as he just wasn't a good enough kicker to be on Greg's roster. He kicked 5 field goals this week. Probably didn't make up the difference there to beat Jake, but it would have been pretty close. Josh Reynolds, after being the surprise start last week that came through, didn't really come through this week. Got the big 0 spot for Greg, and he was promptly dropped this week. So you got to produce here. You get your ass kicked off of Greg's roster. That's for sure. Jake, obviously, as we talked, had the McCaffrey and the Kittle big games. Gets a solid outing from Dak to get over 300, which helps there. And then it's just another good kicker performance. So that 132-point swing there at kicker is a big difference maker in this matchup. T. Higgins sucked again. Receivers are okay. Javonte is okay for Jake. So enough to get Jake out of the winless column. Jake moves to 1-2. Greg's 0-3. Thought Jake could win by about 40 points, and he comes out with a 187-point win. The last matchup was all the drama. There's A.J. Brown. I think that might be the last dump-off pass where he kind of just trickled down the sideline for about 25 yards, and as the Eagles were icing the game away. In the end, that might have been the difference. Ross comes out with a 10-point victory here. There's definitely that late dump off pass to AJ Brown. That probably was the difference. Daggy gets a decent game out of Stafford. You probably like more out of your quarterback there. Daggy did swap James Conner out of the lineup after I trashed him on Saturday night, Sunday morning for Zach Moss, which is a good play. But Conner actually ran really well against Dallas, and surprisingly, Arizona beat Dallas, which I don't think anybody was expecting. Jamar Chase did Jamar Chase things. The rest of the lineup is just okay. I hope Daggy hasn't seen the Pitts missed throws from Ritter. There's a couple bombs that definitely would have put Daggy in the winning column there if Ritter could actually throw the ball to a wide receiver. Ross gets a pretty solid production here. Lamar is running the ball a lot. He puts up 355. Pollard steady, solid again with a 124. AJ Brown finally has a big game, gets a 140. DK looking good with 118, and the kicker there comes through big for Ross with 110 points. So I forget what time it was, but sometime on Sunday night, Ross texted and said the fire sale begins. He was convinced he was going to lose, and his team comes out on top and moves into 1-2, bounces to 8-0-3. So I thought Ross would win by 105. Ross actually won by 11. So luckily went 5-0 on the predictions this week, and the lock of the week was Ryan. Didn't expect him to score 1,600 points, but the lock of the week moves to 2-0 on the season. So look for some weekly awards here. These are the high scoring guys for the week. Weird, 2 of them are on Ryan's team. Herbert with the 516, Mostert 229, Keenan Allen 303, Laporta 196. I believe some of these trigger APL bets things. I will look at that eventually here this week. Just haven't had time yet. I think that Keenan Allen one does some stuff. Shitty weeks. Matt Stafford 294 is the lowest scoring quarterback. Kind of interesting. Josh Kelly sucks ass again. Ross still started him, but or no, he didn't. He snuck him out of the lineup, I believe. Let's look. Oh no, he still started him. He's still shitty. Josh Reynolds gets the 0 and promptly gets cut. And then for the second week in a row, my tight end is the lowest scoring. So 13 total points there the last 2 weeks. The weekly awards this week, I'll go with the MVP, which is soon going to be changed to, I'll put some ranch on that as the best play of the week. Keenan Allen goes there. The Rodder of the week is now Josh Reynolds. How quickly the tides have turned. He goes from being a great play in week 2 to a Rodder of the week in week 3, and now he's not in anybody's roster. The no shit award, there wasn't a lot of strong candidates this week, so I just went with the kicker who scored 249 points, despite playing for Indy, who played their backup quarterback against the Ravens, which seemed like a little tougher of a matchup. So it's not as interesting as the first 2 weeks of guys, but put somebody in there anyway. Wouldn't have done that. Matt Breida at the running back 2 spot for Solomon is probably it wouldn't have done that. Devin Achan, I don't know. It's not A-Chain anymore. It's different now. He scored a lot of points on Solomon's bench. I don't think anybody would have started him, but Matt Breida just didn't have a good recipe for success there. Playing the 49ers, the Giants have been terrible, so probably would have went somewhere else. So that leads into this should have started. He definitely is the man there. Looked crazy good. So we'll see if that keeps going. Though would have been good at Shamrock. Definitely goes us today this week. He had the 3rd highest point total. Comes out the loss. I think Corey had the 4th highest point total. Also came out with the loss for the week. So tough weeks for those guys. So quick look at the standings here in the Mia Khalifa division. Ryan and Tank still 3-0. Good division records. Ryan's in the lead there right now due to points. That'll even out as we work through more division games today. Strong in the 3rd spot there at 2-1 with a nice point total. Jake moves in 1-2, just a game back as today, and then Daggy's at 0-3. In the Diane Lane division, I'm sitting there at 3-0. Corey, Solomon, and Kevin all bunched up there at 1-2, and then Greg back there at the 0-3 spot. So week 4 matchups. Ryan versus today. That's the marquee matchup for me for this week. Be interesting to see how that one shakes out. Who wins? Be an important one for that division. Jake versus Daggy. Another good one there. Daggy can get into the winners column there and make things a little interesting. We'll see. Me versus Solomon in our division also feels like a fun matchup. Corey versus Tank is the out of division matchup there. I think those are 2 strong teams that are scoring well. That will square off there. And then as today dubbed, the most important 1-2 versus 0-3 game in the history of APL between Ross and Greg. So the shit talk started on this one already. It might have been Monday night or Tuesday morning. Greg Kevin kicked it off by saying, better check your mailbox. Greg replied, we play this week. I'm going to take you down to Chinatown. Kevin replied with his normal Step Brothers trash talking that he does every week, every year for like the last 5 years. And Greg replies, you used that last year, you unoriginal piece of shit, which was phenomenal. So looking forward to seeing more of the trash talk in that one this week, and looking forward to seeing who comes out on top there too. So that's it for this week. Sorry it's not too entertaining, but that's the quick run through, and looking forward to doing the preview show later this week. Later.